Europe has bypassed the US in terms of financial aid to Ukraine. The total amount of the aid reached 35.1 billion euros, which is 4.4 billion euros more than American aid to Ukraine. It happens on the background of European countries increasing their military production. Financial Times reports that European countries have increased their military production in 3 times since the beginning of the war in Ukraine. At the same time, the countries are waiting for the summit in Alaska between Trump and Vladimir Putin. Ukrainian officials are largely skeptical about this meeting, as well as many foreign analysts. They think that Putin will use this meeting in order to extend the duration of the war and to gain favorable grounds for himself during the negotiations. We are now in Kharkiv. We're standing in the graveyard of rockets, missiles and drones launched by Russia during those 3 years of war. And together with us is the spokesperson of the prosecutor's office of Kharkiv, Dmytro Chubenko. I would like him to tell us a bit more about what was going on here during this over 3 years period. Could you please tell us how is the situation on ground and how this all has been collected here, how this idea appeared for the first time?
This area is a storage site for physical evidence of war crimes committed by the Russians. Here, about 15 to 20 main types of munitions used by the Russians to strike the city of Kharkiv are presented. And these are only the munitions used to hit the city itself. In total, more than 22,000 strikes have been carried out across Kharkiv and the Kharkiv region, using missiles, artillery shells, mortars and multiple rocket launch systems. Systems such as Grad BM-21, Uragan, Tornado, Smersh, ballistic missiles, S-300, Iskander, cruise missiles, Caliber, Shaheds, Jirani and others were employed. All these types of weapons are represented in this collection. Their primary purpose is to provide evidence in future tribunals proving the guilt of the Russian Federation. For these crimes, establishing their legal responsibility for these attacks, especially since some of this weaponry was manufactured within the independent Russian Federation. Russia is the main producer and operator of these weapons, and certain modifications and types are found exclusively in Russian arsenals, which serves as one form of evidence of their involvement. Additionally, the trajectories of missile flights recorded by the Ukrainian Defense Forces and their partners, as well as other types of evidence collected from site inspections, utilizing advanced technologies to analyze impact angles and geolocation, all contribute to confirming Russia's responsibility for these war crimes.
What is the latest addition to this unfortunate collection?
One recent trend among the Russians is the use of loitering munitions, primarily the Geran 2, which Russia has already established production of within its territory. These are launched dozens of times a week against the city and the Kharkiv region. These are small aircraft type, UAVs, equipped with damaging elements, mostly homemade explosive devices or RPG projectiles, attached grenades, and similar payloads. Such attacks do not target military objectives. They are carried out against residential neighborhoods in Kharkiv to create panic, suppress resistance, and inflict moral and psychological pressure on the population. Overall, the Russians aim to terrorize the local population through these attacks, which lack any military purpose, and are solely intended to affect civilians psychologically.
After the war ends and everything is finished, what do you think will be done with all this? What are the plans for all this?
First, we preserve these munition fragments as physical evidence. They have already been examined by Ukrainian explosive ordnance disposal specialists. The exact weapon types and modifications have been documented. Later, during tribunal proceedings, further examinations by experts, prosecutors and judges will be necessary, and some of these munition fragments may be sent for expert analysis at the tribunal and brought to court hearings. The world community now understands who is waging this war and who committed this aggression. However, to legally establish the fact of aggression and its consequences for the world community, the tribunal will consist of judges from various countries who may not fully understand what is happening in Ukraine, how Russia started this war, why and how often it has attacked. For them, this will all be new. While Ukrainians have already experienced this, the tribunal judges and prosecutors, many of whom will be foreigners, will need to be shown this evidence anew and start this process from the beginning. Therefore, Kharkiv prosecutors are working to document these attacks in real time, recording detailed information about the victims, missile trajectories, types, models, and launch sites. All this is essential for the tribunal. In other words, we are working on the legal front to hold Russia accountable for these crimes.